What's up, YouTube? This is Mathis97, and welcome back to my SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 General Manager mode. As you can see, we have a lot of superstars on our show who would like a title match. However, only a select few can actually receive said title matches. Mr. Kennedy is an example of a guy who is not in contention for any championships, therefore we cannot give him any title shots. It's also the matter of working this into the rivalries, figuring out how we can give certain people their title shots while still maintaining their rivalries. Obviously, JBL and Kennedy, they're going to be going for the tag team titles so we can knock those two out in one shot. But for other guys like Carlito, Kane should be an easy fix because he doesn't have a rival at the moment. I'm thinking the easiest way to do this is to have an Intercontinental title match, but then the problem is Mick Foley probably wants a WWE title match, so I don't think that it's going to satisfy him. Otherwise, some of these other guys will take care of it Taboo Tuesday, but I would like to throw the Intercontinental title on the line this week just to try to hold some of these people over. But the question then is, well, what kind of a match do we do? What kind of a... Do I throw a stipulation on the line? Just make it a standard sort of fatal four-way? I always kind of like the ladder match just because there's an element of chaos there. So I think it worked for SmackDown last week. We are going to borrow that idea from them. We're going to put the Intercontinental title is going to be on the line in a ladder match. Fatal four-way. We've got Kane in there. We've got Shelton Benjamin. Carlito's currently in a rivalry with Matt Hardy, but I think I'm going to throw Carlito in there. And I'll try Mick Foley. No promises that it will actually solve the problem, but we can hope. We can hope. I guess we can do the advertising promo, and I'll do just a title match hype. Just so that way we can add a bit of a boost to this matchup. It's going to be in our main event. I know some of these superstars don't necessarily deserve the main event spotlight. Oh, shoot. We probably can't do the advertising promo then because I need to... Well, how far into this rivalry are we? 4 weeks? Yeah, maybe I'll just let it end. And then I'll try to pick up with something else later on. I think I'll just do that. We'll leave Matt Hardy as a floater for the moment. What I think we could do is... Well, obviously Matt Hardy can... Here, I know what we'll do. I know what we're going to do. We'll have a singles match. It's going to be Matt Hardy with Rey Mysterio in his corner taking on Finlay. That is what we will do. That'll be our opener. That way we can have Carlito here. It does end one of our rivalries, but it was only going to Taboo Tuesday, so there wasn't much that I feel like we could have gotten out of it in the first place. So just doing that, it just makes it easier. As for everybody else on our show, the good question now is how do we incorporate them? We can do a tag team matchup. That's a pretty simple solution. Let's have DX take on Batista and John Cena. We'll see how that plays out. That should be a pretty interesting contest, to say the least. The Undertaker still is nursing an injury, but I don't think he has any fatigue at the moment. No, Edge is the only one who has any sort of fatigue right now. But I would still like to keep the Undertaker as in a manager's role just to make sure that he doesn't injure himself, because that would be the last thing that I need right now. What we could do, because I know the week before we had Kurt Angle take on Edge, so maybe we can't do that. I forgot that Edge is now in a rivalry with Eddie Guerrero, so that's not going to be as easy of a solution. You know what, Paul Burchill, we'll give him a break. Instead of a handicap match, let's give him a regular singles match. He'll take on Kurt Angle. There's no way he's going to win this match, but at least it's not a handicap match. We'll give him a bit of a break in that regard. Otherwise, we've got 6 guys left. We've got our tag team rivalry. I think I've come up with the solution. It's a bit of a... You're going to have to sort of work with me on this one, because with 6 guys, it's a bit a bit tricky to make this work. But in terms of the feuds, I think this will work. We're gonna have Johnny Nitro compete against Eddie Guerrero. So we'll go ahead and put his rival, Mr. Kennedy, in that corner. And then as for the other one, we're gonna do another single manager match. But instead of Johnny Nitro, it'll be Joey Mercury, who will have JBL in the corner of his opponent, taking on... Well, I already did Eddie Guerrero, so it would have to be Edge. But then that... I mean, I haven't done Kennedy versus Mercury yet, and I haven't done... You see, one thought that I had was to do Kennedy versus Mercury, and then Nitro versus JBL. But then that leaves Edge and Guerrero without a match. I could throw them in here, make another 6-man tag. That's a possibility. Maybe we'll just do that. I think I'm just going to do that. That'll just be, for simplicity's sake, we'll throw Edge on that team, and Eddie Guerrero can join up with DX. So that way, Nitro can take on JBL, because that's not a match that we've done yet. We did Mercury versus JBL, and we did Kennedy versus Nitro, but we have not done Kennedy versus Mercury or Nitro versus JBL. So that's what we're going to go with. We've got our Intercontinental Championship matchup. That's what we're going to play for this episode. So let's get it underway. This matchup not only serves as a chance to bring in the fans with a solid title match, but as well as that, we can showcase some of our new talent that we've got on the show. We can showcase Kane and Carlito. We might have showcased Kane once, but Carlito definitely hasn't had a matchup showcased yet on our show since we made those giant trades a couple of weeks back. So this way we can give some new blood, some new life a chance on the show. Give them a chance to, you know, diversify what I'm showing you guys, because with a series like this, it can get sort of repetitive because that's just how GM mode works. It's not quite as dynamic as Universe mode, where I can basically control all aspects of it. GM mode, I do have a set of guidelines that I have to try to fulfill with rivalries and stuff, but that's why it's good, because GM mode, it's unique, it's different than the usual Universe mode stuff that I make. So I do like it in that regard, but it can be a bit repetitive in terms of what footage I can show you guys. So at least giving other guys, like, you know, making the trades, bringing in new fresh faces, it's a chance for me to diversify the presentation, what I'm showing you guys. Even though, you know, like if I were just playing a GM mode on my own, for example, I might play, you know, I might play the same matchup a couple weeks in a row just to make sure that the outcomes that I want happen, or because in a situation like this where I'm just trying to give people title matches, maybe I don't want the title to change hands, then I'd probably play that matchup and play as the champion and ensure a victory. But in a match like this where it's a ladder match, I made it that way specifically so that there's that element of, well, anything can happen, because as I've shown, I've lost ladder matches in the past. They are sort of difficult, especially when there's multiple people. This is different than a tag team matchup as well, because everybody's for themselves. So the AI is going to be fighting amongst themselves as well. It truly is anybody's ball game. No matter how dominant of a champion Shelton Benjamin has been, anyone can win this match. I just thought about this, but you know, there are certain people who everyone wants to kind of see. Well, not necessarily everyone, but you know, everybody has their superstars who they'd like to see come back to the WWE, regardless of whatever it is that they're doing now, whether they went to TNA or just wrestling on the indies, or maybe they don't wrestle anymore. But everybody has their own talent, their guys who they want to see come back. I feel like NXT would serve as a good chance to bring back a guy like a Carlito or a Shelton Benjamin. Because on the WWE, yeah, they could definitely... Well, I know Shelton was about to make a return until he suffered an injury. I'm actually not entirely sure what happened since then, how severe that injury was. But he was going to come back. It would definitely help with like the WWE draft now. Or not the draft, but it would help with the brand split, add new talent to the main shows. Which is kind of why NXT doesn't get the opportunity to use some of WWE's lesser utilized guys, because the main shows need them now, because they each have their own roster pool. Monday Night Raw somehow manages to not use guys, while at the same time, they struggle to fill 3 hours, even though they still have talent that they're not using. I don't understand how they pull that off, but, you know, sometimes incompetence can be to such a degree that, you know, it's just mind-blowing. That in of itself is an achievement. The lack of achievement is an achievement that you can actually fail that hard. But, just to bring... That's what I liked about NXT in 2014, was that we had somebody like a Tyson Kidd who could come back, and it wasn't just Tyson Kidd. You'd have guys like Titus O'Neil come down to NXT, Sheamus. I mean, there were a bunch of guys who would come down to NXT, and, you know, just to give them a chance to work with some more experienced guys. But now that doesn't really happen as much. Now that NXT is more of a brand, we've got more of the indie superstars. WWE or NXT rather, just doesn't seem to focus on developing talent on their shows as much. But still, it would be cool to see. I understand why they don't, because if you brought back a guy like a Carlito in a 2014 NXT, Carlito could have believably been in the main event of NXT because he's an established WWE name. He's a former champion, but when you put him up against, if you brought him into NXT in 2017 or even 2016 against guys like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, then Carlito, you know, he's just Carlito. I mean, you look at him, he's like, yeah, he might be good to a certain extent, but he's no Bobby Roode. He's no Shinsuke Nakamura. And that's what NXT has kind of lost since becoming more of a brand, is that it has lost that sense of truly anybody can make it in NXT. Nowadays, they focus less on developing superstars, less on... NXT was always a chance where people could go down and reinvent themselves, or work more on a character that perhaps hadn't been fleshed out or hadn't been given the chance to thrive on the main roster. It worked for Tyson Kidd. I mean, Tyson Kidd really invigorated himself after he went down to NXT. He reinvented his whole character, sort of lit a new fire under his career up until his injury. But we don't get that anymore. We don't get that from NXT, and it kind of sucks, because that was one of the things I liked about NXT, was that anybody could show up and, you know, be a threat. Anybody from the main roster, Brodus Clay even. You know, some of these lesser-known guys could have an opportunity. It could show us what it would be like if they were in the main event. You know, give a chance to see just exactly what they could do. Let's look at Shelton Benjamin, good lord! From the top of the ladder. Whoa, that was insane. Shelton Benjamin risking life and limb to retain his title tonight. Carlito climbing to the top of the ladder, but nobody's up there. Carlito's gonna take a risk. But at least for him, he didn't crash and burn. He just sort of missed. As now Carlito, snapmare takedown to Mick Foley. Drop kick to the back. And a big clothesline is Shelton Benjamin. Carlito's taking everybody out. Carlito's going to have to reposition that ladder, though. That got knocked way out of the center of the ring. As now it looked like Foley and Benjamin were going to try to climb that ladder, but Carlito having none of that. As now Kane. He goes to the outside, looking to pick up a new ladder. Meanwhile, Shelton atop the ladder. Kane looking to follow him up there. Oh, a low blow by Carlito. What a low blow. Kane and Benjamin trading shots back and forth on the top of that ladder. Look out, Shelton. Shelton staggers. Kane has got the championship. Kane has the Intercontinental title, but Carlito shoves him down. And now Carlito, he's got a hand on the title. But here's Foley now. Whoa, what just happened? These two men somehow warped off the ladder. I mean, they're lucky that they didn't fall and, like, break any bones. That could have been ugly. But Kane and Benjamin tearing each other apart atop of that ladder. Kane is nowhere near that championship as Mick Foley collapses. And now there's just complete carnage. The ladders collapse. Oh, now the referee. The referee, he's getting brought into this as well. Come to think of it, why is the referee even in the ring? Why do we need a referee in the ring? It's a ladder match. Kane is up top. Oh my god. Oh my god! Shelton Benjamin superplex Kane out to the floor. And now Carlito has got a hand on the title. But Benjamin, no, Carlito fights back. Oh no, oh no. Superplex and Benjamin. Benjamin nearly broke his neck. Foley up atop of the ladder, but Carlito's up there. Carlito meets him at the top. But Foley's not going anywhere. Carlito and Foley trading blows back and forth atop this ladder. But Mick Foley tosses him down. And Foley's got one hand on the title. Can Foley grip it down? No, Kane is up. Kane is up top. And Mick Foley. Now Foley takes a dive. Carlito, no! Carlito went to reach for the title, but he failed, he missed it. The ladder was out of position. And he crashed and burned as well. It's now Carlito going to the outside. Benjamin and Kane up on top of that ladder yet again. This is a very dangerous spot. No man's land right now for these two. As Kane tosses him down. Kane, he's got both hands on the belt. Is Kane gonna pull this off? No, Foley's got him. Wait a minute, look at Carlito. Backstabber. Backstabber to the Intercontinental Champion with Mick Foley. Mick Foley rips the title off its holster, and Mick Foley is the new Intercontinental Champion, just like that. Well, I think that'll take care of his morale problem. Mick Foley wanted a title shot. He got an Intercontinental title shot. And now, he's the new champion. Shelton Benjamin's reign has finally come to an end. Mick Foley, the hardcore icon, is now the Intercontinental Champion. He's finally grabbed the gold here on Monday Night Raw. And while it may not be the WWE Championship, it definitely is the next best thing. Mick Foley, this will keep him relevant for a little longer. You know, his spot on the card, it was a bit questionable, but he's managed to secure himself a spot as one of Raw's finest champions. I always have to look back through commentaries like these just to cut out any parts of me blowing my nose, because I am just always sick, apparently, whenever I make these videos. So let's take a look at the rest of the card. Batista, Cena, and Edge defeat DX and Eddie Guerrero. That's not actually good because Michaels and Guerrero are now on losing streaks. That's fantastic. Mr. Kennedy gets the win over Joey Mercury. Johnny Nitro the win over JBL. We'll see what that does for Kennedy. Maybe he can make it on the Power 15 now that Carlito lost, because he was towards the bottom. No! Pirates are not supposed to beat gold medalists. Burchill, what are you doing? Angle, what are you doing? It must have just been a pity loss. Kurt Angle, he took pity on Paul Burchill. Great, now we're gonna lose. Now we're gonna lose our top spot on the Power 25. Thanks Angle. Your charity work is not appreciated in this situation. And Matt Hardy gets the win over Finlay. So at least one of those matches worked out the correct way. Security foils interference. So SmackDown again is gonna gain only 10,000. That's not bad. Was the SmackDown general manager up to no good, or did Rob Van Dam have a personal conflict with a Raw superstar? No one knows the answer to that question, but the fact remains that this superstar tried to interfere on the opposing show this past week. Security was able to react quickly enough to stop the intruder backstage before any trouble could be caused. So SmackDown, they're still at it, but they can't. Our security's too good. They didn't pull it off this time. We were on to them. Although we had a title change and we still couldn't pop the ratings. So I don't know what does it. I guess, well, we had a bunch of 3-star matchups. Not quite as good as the previous week's show. Maybe if we had put on that show this week, then we would have won. Although SmackDown, they could have done better as well. I mean, they had a tag title match. I don't know if it changed hands. I don't think so. I don't know who their tag champions are anymore. No, it didn't. They retained it, so... Okay. Yeah, Kennedy's contract's expiring. So we're gonna have to bite the bullet and re-sign him. There's always the possibility that he could Well, I don't think SmackDown has any free spots. Let's take a look at the free agency. Did anybody drop? No one did. So they can't take anybody, so that's at least a good thing. Take a quick look at... Okay, so this is a lot better. Guerrero and Michaels both want title shots, but they're also losing multiple times. So that's not good. Cena's on a winning streak, though, so good for him. Hopefully Kennedy made it into the rankings, because I would like to get that title shot out of the way sooner rather than later. Actually, no. Mick Foley might be #1 in the Power 25 now, because he just won a title. That could be. Let's check it out. Let's not put it off any further. Stupid SmackDown. Yeah, there we go. So Taker dropped from #1 to #3, but at least Mick Foley is #1. John Cena, #5. Chavo still holding in at #6. Batista moved up. DX moved down. I don't know who #10 was. That was Kurt Angle, so he took an even bigger hit this week, which is not what I like to see. Angle, you were supposed to win that match. You really need to step up your game, man. I mean, Taboo Tuesday is closing in. We've got 1 week left, Angle. If you can't become a contender for the WWE title, then, well, you're out of luck. And we've got JBL moving up. Benjamin only dropped 1 spot despite dropping his title. That's surprising. Kane fell as well. Nitro moving up. Mercury moving up. Oh, but I don't see Carlito. I don't see Kennedy either. So let's find out. Did it work? Wow, Angle all the way down to #8. That's gonna be a bit of a climb. Maybe we can pull it off though. Maybe. So let's see. Yes! He made it! We can have the match! We can have the tag team title match, because there's JBL, there's Kennedy. It's gonna be before Taboo Tuesday, but it needs to happen. It's now or never. So let's make it. World Tag Team title match. We'll just do a tornado tag. It's gonna be JBL and Mr. Kennedy taking on Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. Should it really be the main event? No, maybe not. We'll make it match 4, I suppose. Throw in the advertising promo as well. But anyways, that's going to conclude this episode of SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 General Manager Mode. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on YouTubing.